Let's go.
In English, a verb is made up of two parts, tense and aspect. A tense tells the time period that the action happens in. For example, if the action is happening now, we use the present tense. If it happened already, we use the past tense. And if the action will happen later, we use the future tense. These tenses are divided into four aspects. Let's see what do we mean by an aspect. An aspect gives us more detail on how the action takes place in relation to time. For example, some actions happen only once, others are repeated, and some actions last a short period of time, while others extend for longer periods. We have four aspects: simple, continuous or progressive aspect, the perfect aspect, and the perfect continuous. The tenses of verbs are formed from the four principal parts of verbs: the base form, the present participle form, the past form, and the past participle form. In English, we have two kinds of verbs: regular verbs, example, play, and irregular verbs like eat. The present participle of play is playing. We add ing. And for eat is eating. The past for play is played. We add ed for regular verbs. And the past for the irregular verb eat is at. You should learn by heart these irregular verbs. The past participle for play is played, and for eat is eaten. We've said that in English we have three tenses, which are the past, the present, and the future, and each one of these tenses have four aspects. Let's begin with the simple aspect. The past simple, or the simple past. We use it to talk about past actions. Example, I ate at lunchtime. I ate at lunchtime. We use the past simple to talk about past habits or repeated actions. Example, I played the violin when I was young. Here we're talking about a past habit. Now let's talk about the present simple. We use it to talk about habits and repeated actions. Example, I eat salad every day. In the past, the present, and I will eat it in the future. I'm talking about a habit. We use the present simple to talk about facts. Example, the sun rises. This is a fact. We use it also to talk about scheduled future events. Example, the plane arrives at 18 tomorrow. The plane arrives at 18 tomorrow. Now let's talk about the simple future or future simple. We use it to talk about future actions. Example, I will eat at lunchtime. I will eat at lunchtime. Now let's talk about the continuous aspect. The past continuous is used to talk about ongoing past actions. Example, I was eating when she arrived. You can see that the ongoing past action here is I was eating, and this action is interrupted by another action, which is she arrived. You can see that she arrived is in the past simple tense, while the ongoing past action is in the past continuous. We also use the past continuous to talk about parallel actions. Example, I was eating while he was playing the violin. Let's talk about the present continuous. This later is used to talk about actions that are happening right now. Let's see this example. I'm eating my lunch right now. We also use the present continuous to talk about planned future actions. Example, I am meeting Sarah at 4 o'clock. I'm meeting Sarah at 4 o'clock. Let's jump to the future continuous. This later is used to talk about ongoing future actions. Example, I will be eating lunch when she arrives. The ongoing future action is I will be eating lunch in the future. And you can see that this ongoing future action is interrupted by another action, which is in the present simple tense. She arrives. I will be eating lunch when she arrives. The perfect aspect. Past perfect. The past perfect is used to talk about a completed past action that happened before another past action. Example, I had eaten before she arrived. You can see here that we are talking about a completed past action, which is I had eaten before the second past action, which is she arrived. I had eaten before she arrived. We also use the past perfect to talk about duration of completed actions. Let's see this example. I had had that car for 2 years before it broke down. You can see that we are talking here about duration of a completed action. Let's talk now about the present perfect. This later is used to talk about past actions. Example, I have eaten squid twice. This means that I have eaten squid twice until now in my life. We use the present perfect to talk about duration from the past till now. Let's see this example. I have lived in Casablanca since 1984. We're talking here about duration from past to now. Let's talk now about the future perfect. This later is used to talk about a completed future action that happened before a second future action. Example, I will have eaten lunch when she arrives. You can see here that we're going to talk about a completed future action that happened before a second future action. The last aspect is the perfect continuous aspect. Let's talk about the past perfect continuous. This later is used to talk about interrupted ongoing past actions. Example, I had been eating when she arrived. You can see that here we're talking about an ongoing past action that was interrupted by another action, which is she arrived. And you can see that this action is in the past simple. I had been eating when she arrived. Let's talk now about the present perfect continuous. This later is used to talk about an action that started in the past and continue until now. Example, I have been eating burgers all day. I have been eating burgers all day. Here we're talking about an action that started in the past and continue to now. We also use the present perfect continuous to talk about duration from past to now. Example, she has been working as a teacher for 10 years. Here we're talking about a duration from past to now. Let's see the future perfect continuous. This later is used to talk about duration measured at a time in the future. Example, I will have been eating for 10 minutes. Here we're talking about a duration measured at a time in the future. I hope that now you understand the difference between all English tenses. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel.